بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين أبي القاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين صدق الله العلي العظيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I begin by congratulating everyone on this very auspicious occasion when we are marking and celebrating the Wiladat ba Sa'adat of Sibt Akbar, the first grandson of our holy Prophet Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wassalam. Inshallah, in the brief time that I have, we want to look at some aspect of the life of our second Imam. And you heard in the Manqabat as well that it is the answer to that surah, Suratul Kawthar. If Imam Hassan's birth takes place, it is indeed an answer to that surah which Prophet had received in the form of Inna Sha'niyaka huwal abtar. When people were calling Prophet after he had lost his children in infancy, that there's a promise by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that no, your generation will not be abtar, rather your enemies' family and enemies' progeny will be abtar. So when Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba was brought to this world, when he was born, this was actually the answer to those who were raising questions as far as Prophet's legacy is concerned. There's a slight difference between the wiladat of our Imam, but it is middle of Ramadan, 15th of Ramadan, either second year after Hijrah or third year after Hijrah, but more so the third year after Hijrah. When we count in the second year is when the marriage takes place. We look at some of the sunnat or the sunan that Prophet set from the very time of the wiladat of our second Imam, which were not practiced before. So in fact, Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba is first in many of these regards. In fact, it begins with Imam Hassan as well. When Imam Hassan was born, he was brought to Prophet in a cloth which was yellow, wrapped around in a cloth which was yellow. And the reason it was yellow because it was stained with blood. And this was the custom of Arabs before Islam, that the newborn would be wrapped into a cloth which is colored with the blood. And the reason was that when a child is brought wrapped in a blood, it will give this child the sense of bravery from the very beginning, and he would not be scared of bloodshed. Just imagine the mentality. He would not be scared of the bloodshed because of all the wars that were taking place and how easily it was for Arabs at that time of the ignorant era to go out and have bloodshed. So the child would be brought in wrapped around the cloth. Prophet said, no, let's break this sunnah. Because Islam has come not for bloodshed, rather Islam has come for peace. He said, instead, bring my son Hassan wrapped around in a cloth which is pure white. Wrapped around in a cloth which is white, so that became a sunnah from the time when our second Imam was born. Again, another sunnah which is established from the time of Imam Hassan is Prophet reciting adhan in the right ear and iqamat in the left ear. Has we ever wondered as to why adhan and iqamat? Yes, our lives are from beginning till the end, as far as ibadat is concerned. So we begin by this ibadat and we conclude with the talqeen, and before that salatul janazah. So our life is in between adhan and iqamat and salatul janazah. But nonetheless, why Prophet would be reciting adhan in one and iqamat in the other? Because it was again a custom of jahiliyyah to make the children, the newborn, listen to the striking of the sword in their ears. To break that custom, Prophet said, let's begin by the recitation of adhan in 1 year and the iqamat in 1 year. This is how the sunnat of Rasulullah is establishing as Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wasalam is brought into this world. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And therefore, when it comes to the seventh day, this is where Prophet also establishes another sunnat, which is known to us as aqiqah. Literally, the translation of the word aqiqah means to separate. Aq, right? Aq comes from the same root, to separate. And when you do aqiqah, you're basically separating all the types of calamities and bala from this newborn. What do you do? By giving sadaqah, and by removing the hair and giving the weight of that hair in the amount of, compared to silver, and whatever the amount would be, as opposed to, or in regards to, so that this child would remain safe from any type of calamities and bala. This is also where we see that one of the sunnat which is sometimes neglected in our houses is naming the child. That when it comes to naming the child, it is recommended that the elderly in the family should have the precedent. Why? Because this is the sunnat of the household of Amirul Mu'mineen. When Prophet came and he asked Amirul Mu'mineen, what did you name your son? He said, oh Rasulullah, how can I, exceed upon you, supersede you? You are the one who should name him. Right away, this shows that even if you have a preference, you should always consult with the elderly in the family. And therefore, Prophet said, I cannot exceed over Allah. And so he asked, and Jibreel comes down saying that because, and he recited, that because Musa and Harun, the nisbat that Harun had with Musa, Ali had the same nisbat with you, therefore the names of the children of Harun would be the names of the children of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and the name was Shubbar, which would translate from Ibrani into Arabic as Hassan. Therefore the name of Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba was named as Hassan. But it is recommended when we've read in Riwayat, that every child, a boy, should be called Muhammad for the first 7 days, and every daughter that is born to your house should be called Fatima for first 7 days. And then you can go ahead and name them whatever it is that you want to. So at least from the time of their birth until the 7th day, they have been associated with the names of the likes of Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Fatimatul Zahra salamullahi alayha. When we look at, and so therefore it is a recommendation that we should always consult with the elderly in the family, because a lot of time different aspects get in the way and we do not end up doing a good job as far as the naming of the children is concerned. When Prophet was asked, how should we name our kids? He says, Sammu awladakum asma al-anbiya. Give your children the names of anbiya or of their family members. And there should be, we have another set of names which is in the family of Ma'sumin. So that could be the best of the names that you could choose for your children. Because it says amongst the rights of the kids and the children to their parents is what? An yuhassina ismahu. Give them a good name. Giving a good name would actually establish the khulq and the khalq of this child as far as his behavior is concerned. We look at the life of our second Imam. It is overshadowed by the personalities that he's living with. We have none other than the Prophet of Islam, Khatum al-Anbiya. We have none other than Khatun al-Jannah, Fatimatul Zahra. We have none other than Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam al-Muttaqeen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. All of these personalities, when they exist, imagine how you would come about. And so your life is definitely overshadowed under the lights of such personalities. And therefore we see in the brief time that he spends with our Prophet has given so many alqab, and Prophet has said numerous ahadith in regards to Imam Hassan. He says, for example, on one occasion, that لَوْ كَانَ الْأَقْلُ رَجُلًا لَكَانَ حَسَنًا. If you wanted to see the embodiment of intellect, look no further, but look at Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wasalam. How old could Imam would be? He would be 7 years old at the time of the wafat of Rasulullah, yet Imam is being referred to by Rasul in this way. If you wanted to look at the embodiment of intellect, look no further. Look at Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wasalam, and that is probably the reason, aside from other reasons, that why a Prophet chooses to bring Hassan al-Mujtaba alongside with him when he has to prove to another group of people the wahdaniyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the righteousness of the religion of Islam. And as far as his own nubuwwat is concerned, in order to prove his nubuwwat to those Christians, who does he bring alongside with him? Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wassalam. And therefore we see the second personality that might have overshadowed the life of Imam is his mother, Fatimatul Zahra salamullahi alayha. That when Imam sees his mother on Friday nights performing the ibadat, she had divided Friday nights into 3 parts. People question, What is the significance of Friday night? Is it the Shias from this age that they have, concocted something that Friday night should be a time where we gather and whatnot? No, this has been the practice of Ma'sumin as well. They've emphasized a great deal on the nights of Friday, and therefore Janab Fatima Zahra had divided into 3 parts. One part would be ibadat, one part would be prayers, one part would be munajat. And when he would see that his mother would pray for everyone, he would go ahead and ask his mother, "Oh mother, how come you did not ask for your own self? Why did you not make dua for yourself?" She would reply by saying, "I've heard your grandfather say, Al-jar thumma jar. First you remember others and then you remember yourself." But one incident and one event, I have very little time in my possession, that we recall is that when Imam was probably 7 years old. And this is the obligation which you and I need to understand. And even when Janab Sayyidah receives a help in the form of fiddah, and she says, "Let's divide the workload," she does not say, "Let's divide the tarbiyat of children." She said, "No, tarbiyat of children is my right, and I will take care of that. But the workload that will be at the home, you do one day, and I'll do one day." She did not divide taking care of the children with fiddah, with all the attributes that fiddah has. But nonetheless, we see here a message to young women or the ladies that who are, obviously